welcome back to another edition of Bailey Price Media Live.
Bailey Price Media, I like it.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another edition of Bailey Price Media Live. Today, we got the special honor of having Alcorn State Assistant Head Coach, Coach Leroy Frederick, joining the show. We're going to talk all things Deion Sanders in Colorado and Fran Brown in Syracuse filing paperwork with the NCAA to hold joint spring practices. They're doing all they can to make that come happen, and we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss Cam Ward impressing Brian Callahan, the Titans head coach at Miami's Pro Day. Cam Ward obviously throwing out there in shorts and a t-shirt. Nonetheless, still managed to impress Brian Callahan for sure. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns starting spring ball and the future and the potential of Arch Manning as Texas's quarterback one. We're going to discuss that. Also, Andrew Luck becoming the first general manager to fire a head coach in college football. Man, we are at some interesting times in college football. But nonetheless, we're going to discuss that and so much more. If you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. Obviously, Matt and I are off of 0 to 60 the whole week. Not sure on the future on that. I haven't heard from Matt. But nonetheless, we are live here on Bailey Price Media Live today. Let's get into it. Our special guest, Alcorn State Assistant Head Coach, Coach Leroy Frederick. Coach Fred, what up, man? Happy Tuesday.
Hey, same to you, Bailey, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. We in the building. We here, man. There's a lot going on around the football world here as we get closer to the draft. The NFL draft is less than 1 month away. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm guessing you are as well. Man, how you doing on this fine Tuesday, Coach Fred?
Doing good, man. Got practice in this morning. Burned off some of the fog. Turned out to be a real pretty day. Got a few meetings to finish up today to correct some stuff in practice. But other than that, man, everything's good, brother.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining, Coach Fred. This is going to be a great show here on this fine Tuesday, man. And let's waste no further time and get into it. So, Cam Ward in Miami. So, Miami obviously had their pro day, and Cam Ward managed to impress Brian Callahan and the Tennessee Titans at his pro day. Obviously, see here working out in t-shirts and shorts, but nonetheless managed to put up some highlights as we see every year from these pro days and these scouting combine. Nonetheless, here you see Cam Ward with Brian Callahan, the Titans new offensive coordinator, and Titans quarterback coach. Coach Fred, what were your thoughts on Cam Ward's performance? What were your thoughts on his performance at Miami's pro day?
Man, some of the throws he was making was again, like you said, it stayed in the theme of pro days that we've seen from the past, man, when those guys were making incredible throws. Really a lot of throws that we would hope that they wouldn't make in game.
Right.
But, without saying anything else about it, it's pretty impressive to throw one sideways almost 70 yards. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. If nothing else, it shows, he got the arm strength and he can sure skip some rocks if he had to.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, Cam Ward and the Titans here you see him photoshopped in his Titans uniform here. The Titans are planning to hold an additional private workout with Cam Ward after his impressive showing at Miami's Pro Day here. They're impressed with Ward. While they're expected to listen to offers for the number one pick, it would now take an even stronger package to acquire the draft's top selection. Man, Coach Fred, is Cam Ward a lock to the Titans at 1?
I don't think anybody's a lock, man, but I think he's about as close as it can be. I would think if they are, planning another workout for him, I would think this one would be more private and this would be more suited to stuff that would happen within their offense that they would want to see him to see if he can make, those kinds of throws, that kind of thing. So I think it's a deal that's probably in the 90 percentile done, so to speak, in their minds. But also, Bailey, I throw this out there. Anybody that's within that first five that says they want something other than a quarterback and is willing to trade Tennessee and give them additional deals and they still be able to get Cam, is that something they could be trying to work as well in the back rooms? Just to throw that out there.
Absolutely. That's something to think about here. And definitely rumors early coming out of Tennessee. It seemed like they're really interested in Abdul Carter here a couple of weeks ago. And how we've seen a shift as a NFL quarterback free agency, so to speak, as seeing different guys end up in different spots. Tennessee, we haven't seen any moves at the quarterback position from what we've seen. Lost Mason Rudolph. I believe he went back to the Steelers, if I'm mistaken, or looking at it. Nonetheless, I haven't seen any free agent moves from the Titans at quarterback. So now we see them seemingly showing more interest in Cam Ward. Here you show him making a throw here at a Miami Pro Day and impressing Titans president of football ops, Chad Brinker, and their GM, Mike Borgonzi here, and seem to get a kick out of it nonetheless here.
What did they say he said there?
I don't know what he said. He must have said something to him. They got a kick out of it nonetheless. Now, Coach Fred, I got to ask you, Cam Ward headed to Nashville. Are you excited about it? Do you think that he's somebody that could turn around this Titans franchise? I think they were pretty close with Derrick Henry and the Tannehill and that so-called regime under Vrabel. Now you've seen a whole, new gutting, so to speak, of the team, new coach, new GM, new everything here. Is Cam Ward the guy to lead the Titans out of football poverty, so to speak?
They got to make sure they got the pieces around him. What is the running game going to be like? You're a rookie quarterback. You're probably going to want to lean on that run a little more say than, if you had brought a veteran in there. Who is he going to throw to? The tight end position has become very big all of a sudden in this day and age, so to speak, in the AFC. So again, what's going to be their mindset, their offensive philosophy? Are they going to, free agency, wholesale it in the other pieces as far as trying to find running backs, receivers, to surround him with that supporting cast that will take care of it? Because if you just put him out there, we've seen it happen. The Carr brother in Houston, what his name when he was there in the beginning before he actually could kind of catch his footing when they brought Derrick Henry in there. If you don't have those pieces around it, man, I don't care what franchise quarterback you bring in there, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned tight end. The Titans have had a really solid tight end for the last few years at Conco. I believe he'll be there with Cam Ward. Somebody else I wanted to bring up, though, to pair along with Cam Ward, his teammate at Miami, Xavier Restrepo, ran a 4.83 40-yard dash at Miami's Pro Day. And now social media, of course, has lost their mind, saying that his draft stock is going to plummet, blah, blah, blah. Steve Kim, obviously a Miami alum and a big-time Miami enthusiast, talked about it on Coach JB show this morning, saying he's a slot wide receiver. He's not an outside guy. He's not going to go and burn people over the top. But also this 40-yard dash is nothing to be concerned about. Now, Coach Fred, I'll ask you this. Restrepo is expected to be a day 3 pick, just based off projection. If the Titans were to bring in Restrepo to pair along with Cam Ward, do you think that would take some pressure off him as a rookie quarterback?
I mean, that would give him something, some familiarity. But Bailey, you're a football guy. I'm a football guy. Nothing against Steve Kim, but there's very few guys that get the opportunity to get in the league running a 4.8. I don't care if he's an inside guy, he's an outside guy, running back. It really D-line. It's going to be really tough. So to say that he's going to be an actual pick, man, I've got to see that happen. To me, that's a stretch, just reaching. If they did do that, then that's one of those deals where, and can we trust? Cam asked us to go get him with the fourth round pick that we had. We'll go get it, because Cam wants him or whatever. But a receiver running a 4.8, Bailey, man, that's rough.
Yeah, that is rough nonetheless. But I think the Restrepo is somebody that the Titans could look at in the later rounds, but still, definitely I don't think that's going to help his draft stock. And how social media is with that shit. They are losing their mind, so to speak. But nonetheless, Coach Fred, before we move on from this, I don't know if you saw this. toward the end of, I think this is the last play at Cam Ward's pro day. They ran a trick play or something. What's the deal with this, Coach Fred? Is this just a show? Is this just for fun? Is this to show Cam Ward can catch the ball? I don't know. What's the point of that?
I didn't understand that, but then I was like, okay, if that was the last play of the day, okay, that was, the 1, 2, 3 break kind of deal.
Right.
Because there wasn't a defense. It wasn't anything else out there to to draw mystery to what was going on. I mean, once they broke into the formation, it's one of those deals. So I just think it was something, just for smiles and laughs to end the long day. Because that's a long day. That's a long process.
Exactly. Nonetheless, I agree with you there. And I don't have as much of a problem with it as Coach JB has. But nonetheless, just interesting. Nonetheless, Cam Ward impresses Brian Callahan of the Titans at Miami's Pro Day. The Titans are set to host a private workout with Cam Ward going forward here, so we'll stay tuned. Obviously, the Titans hold that number 1 pick, and it's seemingly more and more likely that they'll use it on Cam Ward. Coach Fred, I got to ask you and move forward here. So let me ask you this. Michael Vick, Norfolk State, they've started spring practices here, and he talked about not doing this for the cameras, so to speak. It sounds like they're having some sort of I don't know if it's documentary crew or something like Last Chance U come through Norfolk, but Coach Fred, take a listen to this.
Well, I haven't told them yet to expect how this season is going to be chronicled. I think they know what comes along with it. I'll break the news to them at some point. I don't want them to feel like we're doing this for the cameras. But look, I understand you guys are going to be around. They understand the magnitude of the situation. They feel blessed to be in this situation, and obviously they should take advantage of it, and they will. And so, the limelight is here, and we're going to be stepping into it, and we're going to shine bright.
Nonetheless, there you have it. Coach Fred, your thoughts on Michael Vick's comments there as Norfolk has begun spring ball here and his first season coaching?
I could see something like that being done, just because of what he's been through.
Yep.
And to actually be there, I can see it being more curtailed toward him than the kids during the season, maybe tracking his everyday, his every move, so to speak. And then, kind of catch that little deal, maybe not under the premises of Last Chance U, but more of a Michael Vick type doc.
For sure.
And then, I know every day they have practice, there's going to be not only the local news station, but there's going to be another news station there, outlet or whatever, again, tracking every step that he makes. And the kids are going to be there and be a part of that as well. So I like the fact that he's kind of getting them prepared for that. But then he's got to also understand, and we're talking about 18 to 23-year-olds.
Yes.
They, it's going to be a full-time job trying to keep them focused, trying to keep them locked in, and not side hustling and doing all that other stuff that's going to come along with it. Because this is a lot different than what it was back with, Last Chance U. Social media was social media, but it wasn't as hot. It wasn't as branding as it is now, which everybody is always talking about. So, he's got his work cut out for him. If that's what they're going to do, got a work cut out.
Absolutely, definitely has his work cut out for him. As does DeSean Jackson and Delaware State here. They began spring ball as well. But man, Coach Fred, I just want to get your brief take on Michael Vick talking about that. Potentially, I don't know if it's a documentary, what that's going to look like, but it sounds like you're going to get a behind-the-scenes look at Norfolk. So stay tuned for that. Coach Fred, let's dive into one of the topics of the hour here. So let's begin it like this. Deion Sanders in Colorado and Fran Brown in Syracuse have filed paperwork with the NCAA to get some joint spring practices going. I believe in Boulder, Fran Brown reached out to Coach Prime on Twitter saying that Syracuse would head out to Boulder for 3 days for a joint spring practice. Now, the NCAA currently does not allow joint spring practices to happen, and they're still dealing with the hurdles. They still have hurdles to clear in order to make this happen. But nonetheless, the process is getting closer, and closer. And I think this is a great thing for college football, especially in this NIL and transfer portal era. Coach Fred, before I get your thoughts on this, I want to show Coach Prime talking to the Colorado football team and reminding them to take this shit seriously because they could be facing an opponent on national television for spring ball. Take a listen.
These coaches busting their butts to try to get you in a spring game against somebody else, and you're going to go out here and give us some bull junk. Why would we want to work to put you on a national spotlight, a national showcase, have national television, national notoriety, and you don't want to work? Think about that. Because that's what I'm out here doing. I'm out here hustling for you because I want you to get the attention and the focus and the love and the appreciation and the spotlight that you all desire. You all want to be somebody. You want to be known. You want your followers up. You want to be popping. You want to be that guy. All y'all want to do that, right? That's what we're trying to do for you. But if you go out there and don't work, you're going to make us look like a fool, and you're going to look like a fool on national television. Because that thing is getting close, right, Coach? Ms. Calhoun? This thing may very well happen. We may very well have spring practices and a spring game against another opponent. It may very well happen. It looks really good right now.
Woo, Coach Fred. Man, joint spring practices. I'm with it. What are your thoughts on Coach Prime's comments there and Syracuse and Colorado filing paperwork with the NCAA to achieve joint spring practices?
I mean, I'm a Prime guy, so I like I'm always into what he's got to say. But Bailey, I'm gonna throw it back to you. The NCAA can't let this happen.
And why do you say that?
They've let too much go. And if they let this happen, because this is a rule, this is something, that nobody's done. This is something that has been basically, I don't want to say forbidden, but forbidden. You let this go. You let the junior college ruling go. You let the transfer rule go. You let the NIL collective thing take off. At this point, if the NCAA allows that, and then you've granted multiple student athletes, I'm not even going to go 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, in one case, 9 years of eligibility. Right. Where does it stop? And I think at some point they've got to try to make a stand on all these waivers that they have allowed to enter into, be taken serious. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, Bailey, I think it's a great idea, no doubt. But I can almost guarantee you if this happens, and then by the time that plane lands back in Syracuse, New York, and 3 of the best players on Syracuse go to the office and say, we are transferring, and they wind up in Colorado, what's going to be the issue there?
Damn. And I never thought of it from that perspective, Coach Fred. That's a great perspective and take there. And one thing I will highlight, I think coaches, I don't know, you can probably speak to this better than anybody, definitely better than myself. I think coaches across college football have been trying to do this for a really long time. I would guess. I think it's the NCAA who hasn't allowed this for so long. And now that we see the way the NCAA has allowed the rules to go with the transfer portal, the NIL, a lot of stuff is seemingly more allowed now. You're seeing a lot of things that are happening now that wouldn't have happened 20 years ago. Now you see Prime and Fran Brown attempting this. Now, Coach Fred, I got to ask you, based on your experience being a current Division I current Division I coach and currently still coaching, and your experience with this, do you think that the NCAA will allow this or not?
I don't think they will because of the backlash and I don't think they care about backlash, but this backlash would be way too much. And then if they did do it, I mean, so what are you going to do? At that point. Right. But I don't think they'll budge on this, because if they budge on this, then they've got to start budging on a lot of other things. And then, to go back to your point about coaches have been wanting to do this for years, no doubt about it. But the landscape of college football changed. Back, when guys were really wanting to do this, so to speak, the years that guys were really wanting to pursue this, the transfer rules weren't what they are now. For sure. If you remember, Bailey, if I went to Florida State and decided that, I didn't want to be here no more, they could put whatever stipulations they wanted in my ability to transfer. No ACC team, no SEC team, no team within whatever state this, and this. Right. Now it's not even that, A kid can leave Florida State and go to Miami.
Yep.
And you have nothing. You have nothing to say about it.
That's true.
So I mean, again, it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right. Absolutely. Personally, I'm with it. I hear where you're coming from, and I think the NCAA has been it's hit and miss with them what they're allowing and not allowing in this day and age. It's crazy to me. I mean, all the stories I know better than anybody, man. All the crazy stuff that is allowed and not allowed. But I think for the benefit of college football, this is how it's going to be. If it's going to be transfer portal, Wild Wild West, NIL, this is how it's going to be. I think you should allow this. I think this would be a benefit. I think this would be a benefit to the game today. I think it's one thing where you're seeing programs like Nebraska cancel their spring games due to tampering versus Colorado and Syracuse election to go this route. If I had to pick between the two, I think this route is 100% better. Now, I hear where you're coming from and where Matt Rule, obviously in Nebraska, are coming from when it comes to tampering. And you raised a great point. Syracuse players, or even vice versa, after this possibly wanting to transfer to Colorado, right, or whatever. Do you look at that as a super big factor?
I don't. I got to believe that Syracuse and their coaching staff don't as well, which is why they're trying to do this. Mm-hmm. I know Coach Prime doesn't, but again, these two programs may be able to pull it off. And then when you talk about tampering, what is really tampering?
Yeah.
what is really tampering? Because if Syracuse has that guy right now that Texas A&M wants, someone associated with Texas A&M, maybe not employed by, but someone that calls themselves associated with Texas A&M has already got at the kid. They found a way to get to the kid. So if you're calling that tampering, that's okay. That's cool. Maybe it is, but nobody within Texas A&M said anything to the kid, so you can't bring up tampering to them. So that's why I'm like, the tampering thing is just kind of really out the window. Because all I got to do is go to the barbershop in so-and-so city and say, hey, anybody know this kid? And somebody in there knows that kid. And then, bam, here we go. That kind of thing.
Exactly. Well, we'll see if how the NCAA responds to Colorado and Syracuse filing paperwork for joint spring practices.
I want to see how quick they get back to them.
That's
normally these things don't just happen in a couple weeks.
Here's what I will say, though. How fast do they when Lanning and Oregon that week they played Ohio State and Will Howard, the slide rule, and Lanning doing the 12 men on the field causing what was it? There was some Lanning rule that literally happened like next week. So that's the only thing of the NCAA. I'm like, if they want to ban something, they'll do it quick. But if they don't want to do something, they'll drag their feet. So I could absolutely see that with this, where Prime and Fran Brown are trying to make this happen, and they don't hear from the NCAA until July.
That part, yeah. That part. So, again, we'll see how serious the NCAA is about it, about making this happen and not making it happen. And I guarantee you we'll know something within next 2 weeks.
I hope, because I'm.
If they want it to happen, they want it
to happen, you'll hear from them. If they don't want it, fuck, we're gonna be talking about this till July.
We'll still be waiting.
Exactly. Well, man, we'll see how that goes. But nonetheless, Colorado and Syracuse filed paperwork with the NCAA to achieve joint practices. So I think it's nonetheless a historic move, or they're joining the band of trying to make this happen here. We'll see the NCAA being more lenient as they have been in recent time. Grants it. Well, Coach Fred, speaking of historic times in college football here, we got to discuss this. So. Troy Taylor, former Stanford head coach, has been fired. He was fired by Stanford general manager Andrew Luck. Now, this makes Andrew Luck the first general manager in college football history to fire a team's coach. Now, Coach Fred, Troy Taylor obviously is in the news. He was accused by several female staffers at Stanford of aggressive and hostile behavior. Towards different colleagues, most of whom are women. Now, Andrew Luck makes the step of firing Troy Taylor. Andrew Luck earlier this week and last week, I believe, had nothing to say regarding this matter. Now we see Andrew Luck put his foot down and fire Troy Taylor. I'll go ahead and read a statement from Stanford football general manager Andrew Luck. He says, "I took the role of Stanford football general manager with a strong vision for building a new winning era for our football program. Stanford has always set the standard for excellence with our university's unique leadership in both athletics and academics, and I have no doubt that our program's best days lie ahead. Since beginning my role as general manager, I have been thoroughly assessing the entire Stanford football program. It has been clear that certain aspects of the program need change. Additionally, in recent days, there has been significant attention to Stanford's investigations in previous years related to Coach Taylor. After continued consideration, it is evident to me that our program needs a reset. In consultation with university leadership to lead our football program, Coach Taylor has been informed today, and the change is effective immediately. A search for new coaching leadership in football has begun, and an acting coach may be named for the 2025 season. Coach Fred, wow, this is where we're at in college football. I have a buddy that played for Stanford this past season, and he had some things to say about Troy Taylor. I'm not going to go into it, but Coach Fred, I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on Andrew Luck becoming the first general manager to fire a head coach, and then your thoughts on the Troy Taylor situation in general?
Again, like you said, I won't touch the Coach Taylor situation, but I just have a few. I still haven't figured out what the general manager aspect of things really is about. I just know that a lot of universities, a lot of teams are going to it to having those type of people brought into the program. Secondly, where's the AD in this? Is the general manager now the AD? Where's the president in this?
Right.
Where do all these people sit in this pecking order? Is it the AD when we're talking athletics, or is it the general manager when we're talking athletics? Who outweighs who? I think this comes off better if this comes from the AD, the president, someone other than the general manager, because this has all been thrown out to, everybody new. I think this year, maybe.
Yeah.
The teams really started announcing that position.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it is it's basically a director of football ops redone in a new title.
Different title.
Yeah,
different title, same thing.
Yeah, and that, from what I understand, that's what it is. You've seen teams across college football bring in a general manager. You saw Oklahoma do it. You saw Texas Tech retain their general manager, not let him leave to Notre Dame. Here, you saw obviously North Carolina. Bill Belichick hired Michael Lombardi, obviously longtime NFL executive, worked with Belichick now as their general manager. So you're seeing teams elect to go with the general manager, whatever you want to call it. From what my understanding, it's renamed director of football operations, basically to handle this professional football is what it is, with all the not contracts, but NIL, money, and recruiting. I got to ask you, and I wanted to actually, before I ask you this, I want to go ahead and show former Stanford offensive lineman and actually been on the show, Levi Rogers, talking about Andrew Luck and being Stanford's general manager and the impact that he will have on Stanford's football program. Take a listen. Stanford's hired a general manager and Andrew Luck to become the football program's general manager. We've seen other schools like North Carolina bring in Michael Lombardi, among other schools bring in general managers to, kind of oversee the team in this NIL era. Do you have any thoughts on this and how he may impact Stanford's football program? We'll start there.
Dude, I think it's awesome. I think it's a really great decision by them. Andrew is awesome. We've had lunch together, and he's like one of a kind. His mindset is amazing. His knowledge about, football and just like the world is awesome. So I think his role is going to be very impactful for the program. And I think, he's going to be overseeing kind of from like an athletic director perspective, taking care of like the business side of things and whatnot, which is going to be special because I think, that's one thing that we lacked last year and like in the past, it's hard to It's hard at Stanford, bro. Like, there's not, all this attention on football just because it's such a prestigious school, It's different than the Ohio States and, Bama and Georgia.
Absolutely. Coach Fred, what are your thoughts on Levi's comments there? Andrew Luck as a impact he may have as Stanford's general manager.
I don't think he meant in this way.
Yeah, I know. I've talked to Levi about this briefly. I don't know if he expected quite an impact so fast, Coach Fred. Right. Firing the head coach that quick.
I would love to see what that job description entails.
Right.
And I only ask, that, Bailey, because you're talking about firing someone, a head coach of the biggest, sport revenue driven probably piece of asset that you have in your university. And they fell on hard times, but they're Stanford. Let's not make any bones about it. Their donor list is probably from here to where you at, Bailey, Nashville?
Yeah, Nashville.
To Nashville. Yeah. And that's in fine print. So, they have enough names to call to, generate revenue for the university. So, Andrew wasn't going to be particularly that figurehead, but I just didn't see the figure of being the executioner, so to speak. So now, will he be the one to hire the next guy? I think in that letter there, he said somewhere that it was possible for a interim for next season.
Yes.
Now, let me add the speculation to the Bailey Price show.
Absolutely.
Now, is he going to step in?
Oh, really?
And be the head coach?
Yeah.
That door is open. Think about it. Read that part of it. That door is open.
Now, wow. I never even thought of that, Coach Fred. He doesn't have any coaching experience, does he?
Pure speculation, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Damn, Fred. I didn't even think of that. That is something probably to think about at least. Like, fuck. I don't know how much coaching experience Luck has. But yeah, that's something to watch. He does say in this letter, an acting coach may be named for the 2025 season. Our focus remains on supporting our student athletes, blah, 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 blah. I get the point. But yeah, go ahead.
May be named. Maybe.
Yeah.
If we don't get the right name, I'll do it.
Yeah, that would be big. Let me throw this name at you. And this is somebody I think, he was just hired by the Lions. David Shaw. David Shaw was just hired. I think he's their passing game coordinator, if I want to say. That's a name I've seen thrown out like crazy since this news broke.
Remember, he had a heck of a run there. And it kind of all fell apart maybe in a 2-year span. And then I think after that, he was gone. But, from when he was there to now, think of how much college football has changed, Bailey. You know what I mean? He's there with Christian McCaffrey. Would he be able to hang on to a Christian McCaffrey at Stanford if it starts to go downhill, with Oregon up the road with a lot of money, with USC over there with a lot of money? So it's a different landscape, but, Coach Shaw has pro background. Andrew has pro background. And then my thing is, I get how long did the investigation go? I get it. You had the investigation into the bullying and all that. And I think that started right after Christmas, January-ish.
Right. Yeah. I don't know when their actual investigations. I would like to know. I don't know.
I could be wrong, but I think it was
more recent. But I'll find out. But yeah, keep going.
I think it was more second semester. So let's say even if it was February, and no one has come out with any findings or released any statements. I guess technically they don't have to, but to just up and fire someone, general manager, up and fire someone, to me that just leaves a lot to be out there, Yeah,
I this is a big big time news I don't think people are really reacting to in this way. Obviously, Troy Taylor was brought in after David Shaw stepped down a few years ago. Joe Accord in the chat, Shaw wasn't fired, he stepped down. But nonetheless, Coach Fred, going back on Stanford, first time a general manager has fired a head coach in college football history in this new NIL era of college football. Last thing I'll say on Stanford, I just think it's tough for them in general already. Stanford's a tough-ass school. Like, obviously, it's like it's Harvard of the country. And it's really, really difficult, them competing in the SEC, to compete with different type of schools in that conference. Man, I just think I don't. It's tough for me to see a future where Stanford's good just because of them having to go and recruit and transfer portal, whatever, to Stanford. It's just not. I don't know.
Nobody, and it's not like you can just get in school there. It's not like they're just giving you a bunch of waivers to field a team. So hey, we'll give you 35 waivers for admission to go get a base team that we'll build off of. You still got to get in under your academic merit. Not to say they can't find kids with the academic merit to get accepted to Stanford, but like you said, how many that have that academic merit is going to Stanford?
And that's really the biggest point, is because I know my buddy Levi, who we just showed the clip of, his process coming out of high school, because I played right next to him in high school. His process going to Stanford, they can't even offer him until they know that he can get into the school. Like, they care that you can get into the school first, then they'll go and get you. Then you also have to be the type of player they want. There's so many hurdles that I don't think people don't understand that, or don't play or are in this business really understand. There's so many things that go into going to Stanford. It's no joke, but
just like Vanderbilt.
Yeah, just like Vandy.
Any of the Ivy Leagues.
Yeah.
Miami was supposed to be that, being that they're private.
Yeah.
But they've kind of given some leniency to their football program.
That's true.
SMU, from my understanding. So, there's college programs that are really tough to field playoff type teams just because of the admissions process,
Yeah, absolutely. Again, people don't talk about it that much, but that is a very real factor, especially in this day and age, Coach Fred. But nonetheless, Andrew Luck, Stanford's general manager, fires Troy Taylor. Stanford football is now looking for another head coach. Well, Coach Fred, let's move forward here. I got two more things to ask you before we get out of here on this fine Tuesday. If you guys are watching, to all the people watching, I appreciate you so much. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army. We had a huge show last week, huge two shows. The Super Bowl champion Sean King, Tank Johnson obviously joined last week as well. Hell of a week. You guys have been showing so much love to all the clips here on this channel, so I can't thank you guys enough for all the support here on Bailey Price Media Live. Coach Fred, moving forward here, Texas Longhorns have begun spring practice here, and Arch Manning is ready to take over college football as the Longhorns QB1. Coach Fred, what are your expectations for Arch Manning headed into next season as the Longhorns starting quarterback here? And man, I really think he's ready to take over college football. Here you see a couple some hell of a throws here in Texas Longhorns practice here. Him slinging it here. This one's been all over social media. There you have it. But Coach Fred, are you excited about Arch Manning taking over for Texas at QB1?
Yeah, should be his show 100% of the time now. Don't have to deal with the Clint Ewers situation, so to speak. The beauty of it is that he got an opportunity to see some time last year. So the speed aspect, he should be up to that. I think there'll be a few growing pains in the beginning, just because, even though he played a lot last year, he was in a different type of package. He wasn't operating under the whole offense. So, I think the early part of it may be a little slow for him, but I think he's a good enough athlete to where he can get himself out of situations that may be cloudy, that he doesn't kind of see the read the way that, he needs to see it, and he can get out and improvise. We know he can do that. And then we also know he can throw it. So, again, if Texas puts him in the right situations, I think they'll be pretty good.
I agree with you. And here's my favorite part about Arch Manning, and this is something that's a rarity in this day and age in college football. Coach Fred, how long has Arch Manning been sitting behind Quinn Ewers at Texas? It's been a while. It's been a couple seasons now. And I think that's going to be huge for Arch Manning going into next season, having that experience of sitting behind a guy and learning, similar to the way Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre did it back in the day. It's the same kind of effect. And I don't think with the transfer portal, a lot of guys that you see don't start right off the bat that are big-time guys like Arch Manning end up transferring. I think that's a common theme in this era of college football. Arch elected to not do that, which I have a lot of respect for him for not transferring out and sitting behind Ewers and learning here. And now, Coach Fred, I really do think our Arch Manning and Sark's offense is really ready to take over college football with all that experience learning from Quinn Ewers. Agree or disagree?
I agree. It's a good fit. At first, I didn't know how it would work because of the style of offense, but he's adapted well to the parts that they allowed him to play in.
Yep.
So now that, he'll have the full playbook, I think it'll be good. I hope it'll be good. It'll be good for college football.
Nonetheless, I agree there.
Yeah.
Definitely be good for college football. And now I got to ask you, looking at the Longhorns, first season in the SEC, I think fared pretty damn well. And now headed into next season, are you excited about this Texans-Longhorns team? Obviously, you'll see a couple jersey switches. I know those Longhorns fans will appreciate that. Ryan Wingo obviously had a hell of a season last year. We're number 5, is switching to number 1, along with Colin Simmons switching to number 1, Jelani McDonald switching to number 4, running back Trey Wisner switching to number 5. You saw him get some action with Arch Manning earlier. Coach Fred, going back to Texas, going into next season, are they at the top of the top when it comes to teams headed into next season, or you still got Ohio State, now the defending national champions? Who are you most excited about?
I mean, Ohio State was able to re-up in that payroll that they have. So, I think their biggest issue will be the quarterback piece as well.
Yep.
And we all know it takes a little bit of luck. Ask them to get to the national championship game. I just, I'm one of those ones when you talk about Texas, I just got to see them there first for me to believe it.
Right.
Because we've been hearing it for since the Rose Bowl victory that Vince led them to. Texas is back, Texas is this, Texas is this. And then they're just one of those college football teams that just never quite get over the hump, so to speak, since that time.
Yeah, that is true. And that's a great point, Coach Fred. I got to ask you, how do you feel about Steve Sarkisian? I'm a big Steve Sarkisian guy. I think he's learned a lot 10 years ago. I mean, I was a kid when he was at Washington, and so I saw him have his time at Washington, go a bunch of different places, and now we see him at the helm of Texas. I'm a big Sark guy. I'm really excited for this team, and I think now I'm really excited for Arch Manning and Sark's offense. How do you feel about Sark?
I like him. I like Stark. His journey. And just, if you ever get a chance to listen to him talk about how he got back to Alabama after everything happened, and then the way he's just been able to keep the momentum going. I think if people knew the flight of that, that he had to take, I think he'd have more fans, so to speak. I just, at the end of the day, until Texas does it, that was a heck of a season. Great Alamo Bowl win, but it's not what y'all say it is. I just got to see it I got to see it get done.
Coach Fred, I do not fault you there at all. That's how I feel about a lot of teams in college football right now, especially headed into next season. Looking at Texas, man, I think it's there. They have to be at the top of the top just because of Arch Manning's experience. I'm big on that. I don't think you see that across college football very much. Guys sitting behind and learning versus going and transferring. If that was anybody else, I think they would have transferred probably, and that's just the common theme you see.
Nah, man, Arch don't need no money.
that is true. That is true. He getting a lot of money from NIL. Going back to SEC. I'm optimistic about Arch in Texas, Lenora Sellers in South Carolina. I've mentioned a lot. I think that's going to be a team that gives a lot of people fits, as they did last season. They got a lot of pieces returning to that team, Shane Beamer's team. Tennessee and Nico. Everyone thinks they're horrible now because they got killed by Ohio State in the playoff. I think that kid's still 19 years old and definitely has time to learn. I think Tennessee may surprise some people going forward as well. But those are my teams in the SEC, Coach Fred, going into next season. Texas at the top, in my opinion, just because they're quarterback. You can't teach experience there, Coach Fred. Agree or disagree? And who you got?
I agree. Every team is different every year. And now, this day and age, who can keep the most continuity from season to season? Because right now, everybody in the country has lost somebody, a starter, not just a reserve. Everybody in the country has lost a starter, probably multiple. So who can keep their roster intact? I think always has the leg up, and that's kind of why I got to go with Coach Smart, man, Georgia.
Okay.
They re-upped, and I think they're gonna their style of offense lends to a quarterback that doesn't have a lot of experience. So it don't matter who they put back there, he'll fare okay.
Absolutely.
Until it gets downtime for the playoff type situation. So I can't count him out, and that's only because Coach Saban is no longer at Alabama. Because if he was there, Alabama would correct it. And it's always that season after a bad season for Alabama. And I think Kirby has that same mentality. It's always because they fell way short than what they wanted, even though they would playoff. Their goal was natty. So I got to believe that he's going to come back and he'll have it fixed. And, I got to go with Georgia.
Absolutely. And before I get you out of here, Coach Fred, I can't thank you enough for joining this fine Tuesday. You've been coaching at Alcorn State for a while, and there's Alcorn State, I don't know if he's an alumnus, but he's a former of the school, Ashton Hall. You know this guy at all? Did you ever get a chance to coach this kid? This kid has been blowing up over social media. This morning routine with the water and the banana peel and all this shit. I don't know nothing about it, Coach, but Coach, did you ever get a chance to coach this kid?
I did. 2014. His freshman year. When I saw that, someone sent it to me, and I was like, what? And then I went and I watched it. And then, of course, after that, you have all these people that are doing the same thing. But it's just like it's hilarious because they are doing the same thing he's doing, but it's just way out left, man. It's hilarious that I'm watching the time, and I'm just like, come on, man, who really does this? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of – personally, you ain't going to see me do that. But I just – man, I saw you.
It's a lot of BSing going on before 6:30 a.m. there, Bailey.
Yeah, it's a lot of different things going before 6:30 in the morning here. I'm like, damn. Coach Fred, what was he like as a player? Can you kind of talk about his career at Alcorn a little bit? I think he was only there for 2 years or nothing. But did you ever get a chance to talk to him, coach him? What was he like?
Yeah, he was, your typical freshman. He's running back. He's a kid that, has always been put together. He came here put together. He looked like a junior when he came in as a freshman. And the speed the freshman year was just too much. When you come and you got those guys moving at 90 miles an hour and you're trying to get up to speed, it's a little different. So he kind of struggled in that aspect. Went to scout team. We had a little incident. As all freshmen, they don't know how to travel at times. And, when you go in there, you play, Bailey. When you go in there pregame on Saturday, it's shut up and be quiet. It's no talking. It's no phones. And, he had a couple issues with that. And it was just one of those things where, being a young coach myself, I'm just like, so
yeah, I hear you.
The speed just never caught up for him. But he was a unique kid to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a unique kid. And he's really blown up on the social media front. I don't know what he does for business or whatever. It looks like he's made quite a living for himself.
He's not a professional diver.
yeah. But nonetheless, he seemed to, living pretty damn good here. You've seen his morning routine blow up on social media. My Twitter is filled with people doing this. What's the deal? What's the deal with the banana? I
was about to ask you. You don't use the banana peel?
I've never heard of that for skincare. I'm not
You tripping, baby.
somebody in dermatology, but I've never heard of that one before. The banana peel to the face. Coach Fred, you ever done that in your morning routine?
Nah, I was hoping you could tell me about it.
Yeah. I don't know nothing about the banana. I don't know if that provides like moisture or some shit like that.
Bananas are what? Filled with potassium, right?
Potassium, right? Yeah, you would think.
Is that what's going on? My face needs potassium?
And yeah, he loves the cold water, the face dip. That's the thing where you see all these teams across the NFL, college football posting the memes of a bucket of water and a banana. Well, man, Coach, I had to get your insight on this because I figured, man, Coach Fred probably coached this kid, and I think those out there who have seen Ashton Hall on social media, the morning routine, all the people are copying it. Ashton Hall himself came out and said, I got to show you what he said.
That was absolutely, you got to play that. That was absolutely asinine.
Yeah, he basically was reacting to all the people who are copying his morning routine. And I don't know, it said something about Jesus or something, Coach Fred. I don't know if you've seen this. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Man, Coach Fred, is your morning routine like that? Got all the things before 6 a.m.?
I can guarantee you my morning routine is nothing like that. During the season or out of season.
Yeah, me neither, Coach. Well, here. Let me go ahead and show Ashton Hall talking about all the people impersonating his morning routine, and he compares himself to Jesus. Take a listen, Coach Fred.
I'm here to address the nonsense. So many videos are being sent to me, duplicates of my videos. This is for the creators that are sick and tired of their work being copied. Listen to me well. You're either going to be a leader or a follower, and it's okay to be either one, but you have to choose. If you're going to be a leader, people are going to follow you. What is the issue? I realized that God has me here to lead, not to follow anyone, so that's what I'm going to do. When I see somebody following the way, I should be hyped. Now, I'm not perfect by any means. I used to get pissed off. The running videos, the ASMR workouts, I'm not going to act like I'm a saint. I used to block anybody who was doing anything similar to me. That was me. I'm blocking them. Screw them. How could they copy my work? I worked so hard for this. What's wrong with this dude? Why do the same thing as me? What is up?
I don't really care about the rest, but interesting take on the copying of social media. There's a billion people. There's billions of people in this world, Coach Fred. So as somebody who does content creation for a living, I don't ever fear of someone copying my shit or whatever, especially in this genre of college football and sports. Like, it's just competitive, dog. It is what it is. But what are your thoughts on his comments there, Coach?
Yeah, man, I don't know. When you go to comparing yourself to Jesus, you lose me. And that was just, you want to talk about out of left field? That was like out of left field. And then for whatever reason, Bailey, I just started to read the comments. Normally I don't read comments, right? But I started to read the comments, and they were absolutely hilarious. You know what I mean? So I was kind of glad I did read the comments. But, yeah, my routine is nowhere near that. I probably need to document it, though.
Yeah, I'm curious. I got to find out about the banana peel. I'm going to ask some people about the banana peel. I'm not like – some of the stuff, the bottled spring water, I know, yeah, I'm with that. Tap water is horrible for you, so I'm with him on that. But some of the stuff, I'm like, all right.
What's with the tape what's with sleeping with the tape across your mouth?
Okay, from what I understand, it's actually really beneficial for you. The mouth tape, from what I understand, forces you to breathe through your nose. I think it's really, really beneficial for you, actually, from what I understand based on me reading about it. I think it's actually a beneficial thing that people are like on social media are like going at and stuff. I'm like, I should do your research on that. I think it's actually not too bad for you. Personally, I ain't got no interest in doing it, but from what I understand, it's good for you, force you to breathe out of your nose when you're sleeping so you don't mouth breathe and whatever. So that's the reason from that, from what I understand. But, man, nonetheless, Coach Fred, interesting. Shout out to Ashton Hall. Morning routine blowing up on all social media. Just got to get it. From his former coach, Coach Fred. Leroy Frederick. Appreciate your perspective on that, Coach Fred. Man, nonetheless, great show here on this fine Tuesday. Talked about a lot of different things. Cam Ward impressing the Tennessee Titans and their head coach, Brian Callahan. at Miami's Pro Day. Talked about Arch Manning and the Longhorns, Texas Longhorns starting their spring practice. And Arch Manning set to get ready to take over college football seemingly as Texas QB1. We also talked about Andrew Luck, Stanford's general manager now, firing Troy Taylor effective immediately. He's gone, so now Stanford's looking for a new head coach. Talked about Michael Vick at Norfolk State and so much more. Coach Fred, I can't thank you enough for joining this Fine Tuesday. Coach Fred, do you got a show tomorrow?
Yes. Make sure, man. I appreciate it, baby, man. Make sure y'all go out, YouTube, like, subscribe, Common Man Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Join us every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central for the Drive at 5. We try to do some health stuff, and we also do sports. So, yeah, definitely, man. Come on, check us out.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out Coach Fred and the Common Man Podcast every Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and drop a link here to that. So all you watching, go ahead and check out Coach Fred tomorrow. Was it 5 p.m. Central? Every Wednesday on Common Man Podcast. Coach Fred had a hell of a show last week with Leslie Frazier, who was he? He was the Seahawks DC at one point. Where's he coaching
this year?
He's still in Seattle?
Yep.
Damn. So shout out to Leslie Frazier. That was a hell of a show, Coach. I thought that was really, really good, and I think a lot of people liked it as well. So go ahead and check out Coach Fred's Common Man Podcast today. Coach Fred, I can't thank you enough for joining on this fine Tuesday. We appreciate you. Legendary guest as always here on BPM Live.
Thank you, baby. Appreciate it, brother. Anytime.
Absolutely, man. I'll talk to you soon. I'll reach out to you offline, man. I appreciate you. Hey, shout out to Coach Fred, Alcorn State assistant head coach, joining the show. That was a hell of a show here on this fine Tuesday. And I'm working on another guest here for either Thursday or next Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. I'm working on it. I'll let you guys know how it goes. But nonetheless, great show on this fine Tuesday. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. Super chats are open, so if you'd like to leave a donation, I greatly appreciate that. This show is brought to you by you guys, all you guys watching, supporting, donating. Man, I cannot express to you guys how grateful I am. The way this channel has really grown over the last 2 months here since the start of the new year. We're almost to 1,500 subscribers, which is crazy to me. I remember when I started this channel now. The goal is to get to 10K by the season. We're going to keep pushing here, blowing this channel up. Nonetheless, I appreciate you, all of you watching. Lucy, Joe Accord, Zach, shout out to Zach, and his show, Blue Bloods, Jared, and so many more. All you guys watching, I appreciate you. I will see you guys on Thursday with a very special guest as well, so stay tuned for that. Go ahead and watch all of our videos, hit the like button of all of our videos, and support BPM Live every single day. I appreciate you. I'll see you on Thursday. Peace.